there a difference between soul and spirit? Right.
Um, I know we use.
Life's a journey, yeah. God in disguise, and perhaps we walk out with lands high rise in this podcast realm. We're diving deep, unraveling the threads that the universe keeps. A name of life, we explore, unfold dreams, empower minds, ignite those inner beams. Voices rise, tales of courage and strife. Welcome to the journey, the game of life, game of life. We explore, unfold dreams, empower minds, ignite those inner beams. Voices rise, tales of courage and strife. Welcome to the journey, the game of life.
All right, family, welcome in, welcome in. We have a great show for you today. I'm very excited, and honored that we have Miss Dominique Powell in the house today. Hey, hey. Um, all right, so we're going to do a quick introduction. So, Dominique is also known as the Mistress, and she is a spirit initiated shaman. She provides holistic health services and alternative medicine, including her revolutionary Systole Therapy. She empowers others to explore personal growth, interconnectedness, and the mysteries of the cosmos as a universal thinker. She is also the host of the Prime 10 Supernova Chakra Awakening Masterclass. And lastly, she will be releasing several books in the near future, and I know that we're going to be talking a little bit about those books. So, without any delay, Dominique, welcome in. How are you today?
I'm amazing. Living life on purpose with purpose.
With purpose. I know that's right. Well, speaking, we're going to dive right in because you just hit something big already. You just already hitting it. So, living life on purpose. And, I got to ask you, I'm looking around and I am seeing quite a few people claiming that they are dragons.
Mhm.
They're being visited by their cosmic families. They're remembering their ancient names.
Yes,
They're remembering their native dragon language, etc. And you just talked about living life. And I know that you actually talk about living life dragon style. So I
absolutely.
had to ask, what is your connection to dragons and what does the average person need to know about dragons?
Well, the thing is, I don't even know where to start. That in itself is a deep topic, but okay. So, my connection to dragons, I am a dragon. And I know people will say, you're a human. But this is one thing I've learned in my journey. Whatever we were created to be is what we will always be. I don't care what form you take. I don't care what realm you visit. I don't care. You are always that thing that you were created to be. So it's like I was created as a dragon. I am still a dragon. And my higher self was very adamant. Like, no, you are a dragon. I was like, okay, I'm a dragon. So what we're finding out is I think most people understand that most of us come from somewhere else and we're having a human experience. That doesn't mean that we all came from the same place. That doesn't mean that there aren't natives, but the dragons are realizing they're dragons. And so I'm pretty sure they're going through a lot of the same thing I went through. I was like getting stalked by the dragons, like, okay, I know I'm not Jimmy. The big dragon that keeps following me. But um the thing is, I also connected how dragons are in every ancient history in some form or
Yes.
fashion. They're
They show
everywhere.
up. They
I
show
don't
up.
care if they're winged or, the serpentine or giant snakes, they're there. So I was like, okay, so that resonated. And then I realized through my own personal journey that we've been knowing about them all the time. It's just that we classify dragons as angels, the seraphim. That's what angels are. I mean, that's what dragons are. And I was like, okay. So then it started coming together. I was like, so we already know that dragons are celestials. We just classify them as seraphim. Yes, I know. I know what you're thinking. The biblically accurate seraphim with all those wings and the big. Yes, that is one of our forms. And why do we come looking like reptiles? Well, all of the celestials contributed a form to the illusionary existence. And reptiles just happen to be our gem. Okay. We contributed. Even the little reptile forms that we have here on Earth, that's
Hmm.
our doing. We and peacocks, and I could go on. Like I said, I'm not
Right.
dragons,
It's a great
okay?
episode, team. We got family. We gonna get into it today.
Right. So basically, that's my family. I happen to be the first dragon. And so I've been attracting a lot of them. I keep tabs on them. I call it dragon eyes because I see beyond the realms, and I was like, oh, we coming in the boatloads. And so trust me that every time like we have a sun portal open, we coming in. But the thing about the main difference I want people to know between dragons and base angels, there's other celestials, whole heap, but I'm talking about
Right.
dragons.
Right. Right.
Is that we are like the seed planters. The world changes, and it's very close to evolution right now. So we're popping up like boom, 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 waking up because we got work to do.
That's
Um,
right. That's why I'm
we
here.
exactly. We got work to do, and so yeah, they're going to be visited. They're going to probably see me a lot. I've had people saying that they've seen my literal face, like I've seen you.
Mm-hmm.
I was meditating and I saw you. And I was like, you did now. It's not weird to me anymore. It's not. I was like,
Fair enough.
okay, fam.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
they see me and we're getting together. We're starting to communicate through networks. And so to all my family out there, roll with it. You just waking up to who you really are. You a dragon. We got work to do.
Mm-hmm.
we got
Mm-hmm.
we do this everywhere. And if you're a researcher, look up the the cosmic travelers. That's us. Just
Okay, hold on, because I got a the because people want to look it up. I promise you, there will be people that want to look it up. How do we spell that? The Om.
um
I'm
basically
finna look it up.
OM. Yeah, the Om. I know, right?
Oh, I'm learning each and every day, each and every day, and it's amazing because as I hear certain things come into certain new information, um, and then I go into meditation, right? Things start to reveal themselves. I start to remember certain things. It's fun, right? This it's a game. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be amazing, and that's why this time is so exciting.
Mysterious, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hiding
yeah.
stuff from yourself, like, oh, I knew that.
Exactly, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. You already knew this. You just got to remember. It's
right.
and you know what I thought about the other day? This game. You know why so many of us decided to come at this time? It's like a thing where we get to remember in this
Mhm.
lifetime. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like you get that's an opportunity. You always
yeah,
like at some point it gets mundane, it gets boring. You've already done all, been there, done that, etc. You know that old adage, right? Been there, done that. But when you have to start over and then re-climb and reascend, that's a
right.
different conversation, right?
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, so that's what's up. So this is a random question, but it's on topic, right? That's my favorite TV show is Game of Thrones. Do you like that show? Have you ever seen that?
Yes,
You have. Do you like it?
I do. I love it.
All right, I promise we won't stay too much on it. This is my favorite show. If you ask me, it's the best show of all time. I know that there's different shows, but through the first 6, 7 seasons, Game of Thrones, bar for bar, is elite. Do you feel like they actually tell us about ourselves or our dragon aspects or that relationship between, let's just say, humans and the dragons? How do you feel like they give us any clues there, or is that about us? Just I'm just curious from your perspective, because that's the main thing on this show is I want to capture people's perspectives because we're all constantly in an evolution and changing our perspectives on life.
I will say it does in some ways because eh, jackets don't really work with everybody that closely, and there's a reason behind it. We really signify change, evolution, wisdom, and not everybody is ready for that. Even beyond this realm, we have different levels of awareness and consciousness, and some people are just not there yet. So when you attract dragons, you really onto something. You ready for some
Mm-hmm.
big energy? You ready for some revelations? And so in the show, I noticed how she knew they were powerful and they could be dangerous. If it
Yeah.
can be dangerous.
Right.
And but yet knew, that connection. She couldn't deny it. She belonged there. And I also think that it symbolizes in some way dragon riders. Now, you hear people say, "Oh, my dragon." I, I'm not gonna lie, I used to be offended at that at one point. Like, how dare ye? Like, we
Mm-hmm.
have something to be owned, but I get it because there are people, I guess you could say, that kind of invited to the Dragon Barbecue that can do that. They can call them, you can help out, you can join. And then there's also me. I guess you would consider me sort of a dragon rider because I do work with dragons. I do command dragons. Yeah, I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
if I wanted to get on one, I could ride.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I do see the symbolism. I see, I get what you're saying.
Okay. Okay.
How
Yeah.
they bring
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. I just was curious. I couldn't help but wonder while I had someone. You acknowledge that you are the first dragon, right? And so it's interesting and it's amazing to be able to have a time with someone like that and be able to capture their perspective on the different realities that we're seeing play out, right? So I
Right,
appreciate that.
it is.
Yeah. Now, I had to hit you with that immediate fire. But you know what? I want to start from the beginning because part of this movement is what I would say is we have to paint the picture of all that we are. And so I want to take it back to when you were a child, right? How did you get to where you are now? I think that's where people need help with is coming back full circle. It takes a lot. Takes a lot of time, energy. You go through a lot of illusions. So
Yeah.
that being said, let's take it back to then. And when you were a little girl, was there a moment in which you realized you were different or you were tapped in? Was there anything like that that happened when you were younger?
Yes, and it got me in a lot of trouble.
Okay.
um, in some ways, I'm considered some type of royalty, okay? And I
Hmm.
use that term lightly, but I have authority, right? And I came here not fully dimmed out. I still could talk to spirits. Nobody believed me. I don't
Yeah,
imaginary
I know what you
friends.
mean. Hmm.
I talked to animals. I did a lot of things that were considered cute and odd, but after a while, but it wasn't play to me. So
Right.
when I guess like what the old Southerners say, when getting in myself. And I sometimes I would have trouble differentiating between this world and that world because back in that world I say they do.
Right.
You know, I was important. And so when I came here, I'm just a child and my mom is like blocking me. I'm like, yo, like
Yeah.
I got stuff to do.
Hmm.
So me and
Hmm.
my mom used to fight all the time. She's like, I don't care what you do in la la land.
Yep.
You
Yep.
need to be real here. So I knew something, a lot of my family could actually see. But it was taboo, especially around that time. You'd be quick to be labeled schizophrenic, quick to be, put on meds. Oh, this and that. Come to find out that's not even what was going on. We just all had this gift, and I have plenty of dragons in my family, so it made sense after I came to now. But it made me of an outcast. I didn't, I couldn't relate to regular people that much, and so
Right.
I did my own thing and I don't know. I just knew I was different. But I remember telling my mom I felt important. And she was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "I don't know, like change the world kind of important." Like
Hmm.
I see myself speaking to large crowds. I see myself. And she was supportive. She said, "Well, maybe you're gonna be an activist or a politician." I was like, "Ew." This is like, 19, you're like, But I just knew I was here to do something. But I'm blessed to have the mother I had because I was a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? And actually, that kind of leads to one of the questions I had is like at that time in your life, what, how in a kindergarten, teachers always ask, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? Right. I'm just curious if you recall back to that time in your life and you're realizing certain things and you're unique and you're different. I'm just curious, do you happen to remember what you wanted to be? What answer did you give at that young age? when you still had that excitement?
Um, the first thing I ever aspired to be was a veterinarian. I just wanted to work with animals. I loved them so much, and I talked to them, so they made sense to me.
Absolutely.
I still do it now just for fun, and I felt like use this thing, since nobody understood me, animals understand me. So
Yep.
go to
Yep.
the veterinarian, help heal them, help, or even build a sanctuary for them. I just knew at the time I wanted to work for animals. I still am too, by the way. Yes, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look out for the animal folks. But the
Yeah.
first thing I wanted to do.
Well, I appreciate that. So, you know what I find interesting is like when we talk about those, kindergarten ages, pre-K, et cetera, and we're in our imagination bag, right? We're very imaginative. And as you get older, you hear, oh, well, that's crazy, or that's just your imagination. It's not real. Well, what's interesting is when you think about God, he had to have been imaginative to create, right? Part of creation is using your imagination to manifest or bring things into reality, right? So I think that's very interesting that the society wants to tell you that things that you are imagining, sorry, is fake or not real or doesn't exist. But to a certain degree, everything is imagination, right? Until it is brought into the physical, etc. So I just find that very interesting, and I wanted to go to your point about people want to call you a schizophrenic and all these kind of things, especially back then, right? But we're kind of opening up to this reality of really the imagination is where your creativity comes from. That is how beautiful things are created and brought into life. So
Yep,
I think that is just so interesting. And one of the themes I'm probably gonna notice on this show is that those that have made it the furthest in their ascension journey tap into their creativity, their imagination, that sacral chakra. So it's just very interesting.
yes.
um now, was there an exact moment for you as you were getting older? And maybe it was a little girl, or maybe when as you got older into your young adult life, but that brought you back into source consciousness, like where it all came back, and you remember who you were.
I wouldn't say it was the exact moment, but I can
Okay.
pinpoint that aha moment, that
Mm.
moment where I accepted who I was. And I'm gonna get to that later in the show, definitely, because that's the key to all of this. So I surrendered. I wa- I've been struggling all my life. I mean, I was always intelligent, had a genius level IQ, was on honor roll. I was very intelligent.
Hmm.
But my life didn't match my drive, my imagination. It didn't match my intelligence, and I just couldn't understand. Like, how did I keep ending up homeless? How did I keep ending up getting screwed over by dating life or whatever? Why
Hmm.
was I alone? Why didn't I have any many friends? Like, why I can't I just live a normal life? I just was tired. You know how they say you're
Yep.
sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yes.
But then I took a deep reflection and I was saying, okay, wait, where did this go left? I decided to stay the way I was. I was living in a extended stay. And I was literally on the street, begging for money every day to pay for that room. I mean, that was my struggle. And I decided just, not to rush into the next job, not to rush into the next business opportunity, to really dig down deep and figure out what my issue was. So I said, all right, I said things went left when I decided I didn't want to be weird anymore. When I say weird, I didn't. My brother ended up, being classified as schizophrenic, and it didn't turn out well for him. Okay, and since
Hmm.
everything was so taboo, I didn't want to be. I was already filling out, cats. I didn't want to make it worse, so I just kept those things to myself. I literally chose to cut off my ability. I did it what I call a self block. I didn't
Yep.
want it because I was like, okay, I'm black in this neighborhood in New York. I don't know. I don't
Yep.
need to be seeing spirits. So I consciously chose to block it out.
Yep.
So when I remembered that I chose it, that I was never blocked, I blocked myself.
Right.
And I was like, okay, and how did that work out for me? You know?
It's a real question.
And I realized by blocking myself, I was blocking my superpower, that thing that could have got me from point A to point B. I only had half of the ingredients for the cake of success. I did it to myself. So I was like,
Right.
so I said it out loud. I said, okay, I give up. I'm tired of trying to do it my way. I've done it my way. I've done it my mom's way. I've done it, whoever way.
It's an
Taking advice,
individual path.
it just
Yep.
not working. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I've done everybody's way, and I always end up in the same spot. So I was like, I give. And I declared that I was ready now to accept all of myself, and I don't care how weird I get, because it can't get no worse than where I was.
Yes.
Like I'm tired. I'm at, as they say, rock bottom. I was rock bottom. Like ain't nothing else. What could like what they gonna do? Like
Right. How can it be any worse? Right.
right?
It's
It
only up
ain't
from
no
here.
worse.
Yeah.
A different prescription because I was already
Right.
depressed and stuff. So I was like, I was like, I can't. Just tell me who I am. And I swear, it's like almost immediately stuff just started clicking, and I actually hurt myself. My club audience came back, their audience. She was like, "Oh, you ready for me to drive?" It was just my higher self. I was like, "I understand." Like, it's like you. I was like, I didn't know it was my higher self per se, but I knew. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, can you drive, please? 'Cause I'm tired. And she giggled, and then I started getting all these visions. And then I understood what God was. I mean, I know we all call it something else,
Right.
source, whatever, most high.
Yeah. Right.
And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Because I was raised Christian, but it just didn't sit right with me. But
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I know God ain't in the sky. I was like, how do you know what we doing and all so then it was like, boom, duh, because he
Yeah.
is us. We're it.
Right. 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 You are that.
Right? Oh, snap. That makes so much sense.
Surprise. Yeah.
What we doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The information started flooding in and flooding in. And I was so grateful. But I was like, that makes sense now. And that's the way my life changed. So I mean, that's the turning point when I surrendered and just accepted myself. And, just in case we forget in any other part of the show, authenticity, being yourself, that is the key to everything. People do so much self judgment
Right.
because we're conditioned to believe this is right, that is wrong, this is good, that is bad. There is no such thing as good side,
Nope.
bad side, just sides.
Nope.
You're just you.
Just
And
you.
so once I understood and started accepting that, I bloomed. I blossomed. All kind of gifts started unlocking, and I'm rambling.
No, no, I am very, you breaking that down is you I don't think you realize how important that is because many of us need to hear those examples and to be able to at least have an idea of what does that walk look like.
Yes.
How do I bring the best version of myself out or that complete or full version of myself out?
Hmm.
And as sad as it is, oftentimes we need others to show us the way.
Yes.
I personally believe that's why some of us came back. I know that part of my mission in this lifetime is to be on that path and then to turn around and show others the way, right? That quit going in this cycle, right? This reincarnation cycle and not um living to your highest potential and so that way you can continue to ascend. I'm right there with you, and so I don't think you're rambling on. I think that was absolutely beautiful said, and I appreciate you taking the time to break that down. Um, One of the things that you've acknowledged to me in the past is that you are a returning ascended master.
Hmm.
Now I find that fascinating because I've heard that from others,
Hmm.
as well as in my own meditations, right? Of who I am. Okay. But for the audience, for my family, can you help us understand what is an ascended master?
It's basically a spirit that has gone through this before, who've come to self realization. and was like, ah, you know. And at that point, it's like, what do you do? Because not everybody goes through this. This is a choice. This journey is a choice. We can come here and treat it like vacation if we want to. So
Right.
to go through the journey, but back to self, that in itself is the ascension. It's like I started here. Wait, I'm here. Yay! So there are a lot of ascended masters, even if they're not in the books or highlighted. There are
Right.
many who have come to this understanding. And so, what is the ascension? Knowing self, know thyself. Okay, I'm gonna say it's like this: know your soul, know your spirit, know your body. Like the person. I know it's mind, body, spirit, but I'm gonna dig a little bit deeper in that to give you clarity. And that's part of what I'm writing about. The threefold path. That's what I call it. I knew when I say I'm the first dragon, I had to know my soul. I had to learn my name. Because when upon creation, we all got a name. It might not be something you could translate in English.
Right. Right.
You know,
Because it's all just vibrations
that's
anyway,
all it is.
which we're gonna
So,
get. I don't want to take it off, but
right?
yeah, yes,
You understand what I'm saying? So,
absolutely.
but we do have a name. So, and so once I found my name, and I understood when I was created, where I was created, where I come from. That was one part of self realization. Okay, but I'm also here. I'm on a mission. I'm here for a purpose. So then I
Hmm.
had to understand that part of self. Then it's like, wait, there's a spirit driving behind the person too. Like, okay, but what's up with them?
Right.
So it's like three parts of ourselves
Correct.
streaming down,
The
and we
Trinity.
have to
Yep.
know it all, and that's the ascension. All
Exactly. I love it.
right.
I love it.
So go ahead.
No, you were good, but I do have to ask. So you broke down the ascended masters, yet we noticed that there are ascended masters that are returning, and I'm curious to hear your perspective. What do these souls have to do with the current times that we're living in?
Good question. So why are we coming back? Well, honestly, this is the darkest of times that it has been in this room. I mean, it's ugly, and you see, it's a whole group effort. I know who's the headmaster behind the destruction and all that, and it descended so low that a lot of us that usually come in spirit had to incarnate. It's
Right.
like, 'cause even me, I would normally come as a spirit. Hey, what's up? Let me do my
Right.
work. But no, couldn't do that this time. I had to actually come as the physical. But the reason why we're coming back in droves, as you could say, um, they needed their wisdom brought back. It's been lost. It's by diluted, and we needed it coming from different angles. We might have one or two at a time, but we need everybody.
Yep.
We need
Yep.
everybody. And the
Because we
reason
couldn't keep doing the one and two. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm
Right,
sorry.
because you know what? It ends up turning into a religion. It ends up turning into this, and we don't want that. We want the unity. We want
Right.
to show that, hey, I'm one, you one, we friends. We get along, everybody. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have to
Mm-hmm.
fight. I have
Right.
my way of seeing it. We coming back. Well, I lost train of thought because you did ask me something specific.
Well, what I asked you, no, that's okay. What I asked you, and you're more than welcome to do that anytime. What I asked you was, why are these souls returning? Why are the ascended masters returning at this time? What do they have to do with at the world as we're kind of seeing the world?
Okay. I was on the right track then. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So that's one of the main reasons is this religious war. We're kind of over it. We're
Mm-hmm.
over it because a lot of the masters are actually the same person too. Well, the same soul that has returned. We're tired of. It's like we're here to come in unity. Also, I got some chatter in my. It's clear audience. I'm like, oh,
Oh, I know. I when I tell you when I found out I had that, it was a like I could have swore I heard a whole chaotic event that happened when I was out in Barbados at one time, and I could have swore something happened, and I was like, "You hear that?" And the people I was with was like, "No, I don't hear nothing." And then something ended up happening later that night, and that's when I realized, like, wait a minute. I knew I was told I had these gifts, and then to actually have the experience, and it was like worlds start opening up, right? Because you start learning how to use those gifts, which I can't wait to
Yeah.
talk about this. But continue, please. I did not mean to cut
No,
you off.
it's
I'm
okay, but
excited.
I had some interruption in my ear, and they like, "And say this." I'm like, "Wait a minute, who's on camera right now?"
Yeah.
But main theme is we're agreeing on is the unity. We come back for unfinished business too. Like there's a lot of people who or souls or spirits that were expected to return. There's some that says that they never return. It's so much arguing over who was the masterest of the masters. It's just like we don't we want to just say, hey, we may come from different places, but the process is basically the same. It's self realization. We are not fighting. So why are y'all fighting on our behalf?
Right. Right. It's a
And
great question.
to answer these questions, because there's a lot of people, okay, I'll just say I'm the Buddha. Okay, I was the Buddha. And Siddhartha. And there's a lot of people who would love to sit down with Buddha and just say, okay, did you really say that? Did you really do that? Did you? And so we're given opportunities to just make our presence known and say, hey, calm the waters. Let's do this together this time. I know it's kind of sappy, like hold our hands around the world. But the funny thing is that we recognize each other. And then it's like, oh, you're like, yeah, it's amazing right now. And so yeah, we play a lot of roles. We are fulfilling
Yeah.
prophecies. We're getting connecting together. We're regaining our legacies, but mainly reigniting the wisdom and showing people that there is no fight to be fighting.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely. At the end of the day,
right.
right, everything lies with self. It's can't get around it. It's the most beautiful thing, but it's also kind of like an enigma, like cryptic. Like it's like, wait, everything is me. I am everything. It's
Right.
a whole thing. It's a journey. It really is, and that's why we're here. So, um, you know what? You talked about spiritual gifts a little bit ago, and I feel that many people are coming into the knowledge just simply that they have spiritual gifts. Okay. So, on top of that, they're coming into the knowledge that not only do they have it, they need to use the spiritual gifts in order to play their actual role in this whole
Yes,
game.
that's amazing. That's a good point, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was actually going to write just a little blog or something about that. We say spiritual gifts, but it's really just natural abilities. And even though we have some default abilities that comes with the human being, okay, everybody may not have everything equipped, and that's okay. Because some people always feel like they're lacking. Oh, they can see, they can hear, they can. Don't worry about that. I mean, to
Right.
me, it's like okay, everybody should be able to see with their eyes, but some people are born blind. It doesn't stop them from being anything. They can't just force themselves to see. So if it's not equipped with you, that's okay. Work with what you
Mm-hmm.
got because that's how I say we come into this experience equipped with everything we need to do what we came here for.
Yep.
So that's in line with what you're saying. It's like if I can't do this or if my strength is this and that, that's what I came here to do. So sometimes we try to compare and compete. That's not it. And
That's not it.
spiritual gifts, it is a blessing. But I also think every talent we have is, whether it's you singing, whether you're athletic, everything that we came here to do, like you said, it's tied in. So, fair audience, that's funny. But, like I said, we could go on forever, but all these imagination, all of it is tied in. Imagination is some people's superpower. That's what they came
Right.
here to do. They came here
Really.
to create. And the hearing. So a lot of people think, oh, I'm sorry, but I wanted to bring up internal monologues. Not
Okay.
everybody have one. That's a form of clairaudience. Some people think, oh, is it weird that you have one or don't have one? That's a form of clairaudience. Not everybody can hear their own thoughts, and I found that interesting, and it took me down a rabbit hole. But I want to say that a lot of these gifts that we're calling gifts, we already are using. We just don't
Right.
realize that we're using
True.
it.
True.
Some people, when they close their eyes, they don't see darkness. They see little movies, they see symbols, they see faces. Yeah, that's clairvoyance. They're like,
Right.
oh, that's what that is. Yeah, that's what that is.
Right. So it's like relearning what you thought your experience with something, what is that? And reprogramming your mindset around what you thought or was told it was,
hmm
versus now you're coming into the highest version of yourself and you're realizing, wait, these are actually strengths.
Right.
These are
And but
good things.
I love the age that we're in, the information age, because we wouldn't know. We have an amazing opportunity to say, yeah, you know that's not everybody, right? Because we wouldn't
Hmm.
know, because my normal may not be the next person normal. We don't
Exactly.
know unless we communicate. Like, oh, you don't do that? Like, no.
Right. Right.
And so now we're learning that we're not all the same, and that's okay. It's
Right.
okay.
Right. Yeah, I'm learning that there are some people that are, when we talk about spiritual gifts, like there are some people that are very in tune with water. They never could explain it, they never knew why, but they're coming into what that is. Some
Yeah.
people, we hear usually in a negative light, but people that are pyromaniacs, right, always got a lighter, but a lot of those people are actually very close with the element of fire. That is a very natural spirit or element that they work with. They never knew why, right? But so there's so many different types of gifts that are out there that people have, and so I think that's another important thing for people to realize is that who are you? Don't worry so much about what everybody else is
Yeah.
doing and what somebody else has.
Yeah.
Who are you? What can you work with and how do you best master yourself?
Yes.
Right? And when we all do that, then it's a beautiful experience, right? Because
Yeah.
now we're able to create on a grand level, right? Not just on a well, we built this house and we're going to do our, no, we are creating excellence. We are creating beautiful, perfect structures and concepts and ideas and forms, all these different things. So thank you for your perspective and your experience on that.
Yeah.
Um, I gotta ask you. So I've heard you use two titles, right? You were given you said you were given the name of two different titles, and you may have had more, really, but I've heard that two that have stuck out to me. So, for example, number one, if I go to your Facebook page, um, your background on the Facebook page says Mahamaya. However, I've also heard you use the title of, and I might mess it up, Maitreya. Um, just for my family, do you mind breaking down the difference of what those two different titles are, and how did you come into those titles?
Of course I will. I'm gonna start by saying that my journey here, I carry 108 titles with me, or past lives, ancestors, however you want to put it. There's
Hmm.
108 aspects of stuff, and I'm like finishing up their work. I'm taking on their duties. It's like they're all me, but you know how that is. They're all me. They're my counterparts, but we're doing this together. I pick up on their strengths. I pick up their titles. Even like I said, I appear differently to other people. I've seen my face change. I am them. They are me. So that in itself has been a struggle with me personally. And you imagine, oh, I'm him, I'm them too. Like, who am I then? Like, and that's what I came with the mistress, because I understand who I am. So,
Hmm.
Mahamaya, the first spirit that came to me was Shiva. Okay, but not as Lord Shiva. It was the spirit Shiva, which is
Okay.
androgynous, just a non-binary spirit,
Right. Right.
right? So I understood that I was Shiva. We went through this balance and all this stuff. But then I started realizing, wait, I'm not just Shiva. I was Vishnu, and I was how am I all these things? And then when I was ready, they helped me understand, and they pointed out to me all of these spirits came from Mahamaya. And it even says so, like in their ancient text. Like I was like, Mahamaya, which is mean grand illusion, placed them there, and that's what I do. And I was like, oh, so when I first come to know myself, my first thing that my spirit told me, spirit, God, spirit, however you want to put it,
Yeah.
was that I am commander, protector, punisher. I didn't like the punishment part. We had a battle over there. I'm like, but
But.
that's that's who I am. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mahamaya has so many names and across so many different Mahamaya, Shiva, Holy Spirit, Sophia, so many names. But I chose Mahamaya because to me it resonated as the most accurate because we know that this is an illusion. We know that this isn't the void. We know we was a theory, but I confirm it. A big bang did happen. We know that there's a cosmic background grid. And that's basically what Maya is. You know how people are understanding that the earth has a grid. We have a grid. That's what our chakra system is. Everything
Right.
has a grid. So Maya is the grid for the universe, and that's what I'm tied to. So I know a lot of people like, yeah, you trying to say,
Right.
you are that one. I'm like, it makes sense though if the more people learn about me and what I do and how I'm connected to everyone. Um, Maya also at a Shakti, the Kundalini serpent. It's a serpent.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon. So after all of this, I was like, okay, it totally makes sense. Holy Spirit is the Kundalini serpent, and that's how we all connected to each other, and that's how I hear everybody. And I was like, that makes so much sense. So I adopted the name Mahamaya because little fun trick. I'm not allowed to tell people what my real name is. It's funny, but I'm not allowed to. I was like, okay.
I don't think I
So
am either, but it would shock people who I
right.
am. But
Like so I chose for this journey, I'll adopt that. But Maitreya, now that's something that's an honor. And I was basically in tears because that's not my soul who earned that title. I, as Dominique, earned that title. And because I became fully enlightened and I accepted myself, I understand that I'm a returning ascended master. And so my ancestors, the Buddha lineage, bestowed it upon me. And I was like, okay, but what is it? I had to do a little digging.
right, right.
The future Buddha, the one who's supposed to teach the world. And I was like, well, dang, doesn't that make sense? And I was concerned for a moment, like, okay, a lot of my lineage, my role stems from the Hindu, and I was like, how is that? It caught me off guard. Because, just me being a Black American woman, I'm like, how's it, I end up picking up from that. I don't question it anymore. But yes, I'm definitely deep in there. And so I'm, I'm deep in Asia, basically. So they did a ceremony for me on the last total eclipse. It was beautiful, and they gave me like some keys to, I don't know, I guess to, I would call them pocket dimensions with hidden knowledge in it that they've been keeping, and I was like, cool. So I think there's someone out. Okay, I'm acting insecure. I'm not insecure. Let me stop that. I know that there's somebody out there looking for me. I don't know what the criteria is, but one day we're going to run into each other, and then I will be acknowledged. I know that at some point I will meet the Dalai Lama. That's my friend. I spoke to him telepathically, like, hey, like, also a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just beautiful. It really
Yeah.
is. So that's how I got those two. First one I chose because it's like, oh, so many names. I was like, okay, I gotta pick one.
Yeah.
Other one, I earned. I was
Okay.
granted. Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to take a quick sidebar for the family. If you're wondering why some of us can't say our real names or announce who we are, I won't speak for Dominique here, but for myself, we are in a cosmic war. There are certain entities and beings of also higher dimensions that do not want us to succeed in our mission of waking people up and bringing that unity. And so there is a little bit of a game being played there where we have to protect certain information because, frankly, there during this process, we have to be very careful and strategic with announcing every aspect of who we are and things that we're bringing because the shift has to happen.
Yes.
And so, just like in any sort of war, you got to be qualified to get certain information. So I just wanted to break that down. If you're wondering, well, why? And I don't know, they're not being transparent. Well, we're being as transparent as we absolutely can. In fact, that's why we're here having this conversation. And that's why I came back. Because if you want to, like, I'll just say one thing for the family. When I remembered who I was ready to fight. Like I was ready to tear some stuff up. But it was made very clear, not in this lifetime. We're going to lead with our hearts and make sure that we can do the best that we can. However, that may have to happen if things don't go certain ways. But I laugh about it, but like very also very seriously, that's why we're here. We're here to. We didn't come here on accident. We didn't come here to play around. We came here to really affect change and make sure we are helping the collective ascend, because many are lost, and it's simply that. It's simply that. So thank you for that side. Let me get that sidebar off. Now I was, I like to do my homework. You mentioned you
I
straight
see how
A's, had good grades and all of that. I do my homework too. I was prepping for this. I got all type of stuff, but I was on your page and you had a quote that I thought two of them were fascinating, but I want to start with this one. Science doesn't know as much about DNA as they say they do. It is enough for what we normally do with it, but if they had a deeper understanding, they would see our intergalactic codes too. This is why the spirit follows the blood. What we are calling mutations are just latent DNA from galactic hybridization. And you go on to say, I am a chimera of sorts. It shows up mostly on my skin as solid color divisions. And I have what they call the Eve gene. So my body refused to dilute it. So I ended up being different shades of brown and color blocks. Now, for those that are a little confused by what she's saying there towards the end, melanation, right? It's really not that difficult to figure out. However, she said some very key things there. So, Ms. Powell, in that quote, just let us in on the mindset that you were in when you posted that. Why did you feel that was important? For example, talking about the intergalactic codes or the latent DNA from galactic hybridization, right? What's going on with that?
part of my mission is to help people understand that a lot of their fears are necessary because they are what they fear. It's, we don't actually know what a human is. That's just something what we call ourselves. It the the human being has evolved many times and is doing it again. And when I say Eve gene, we're talking about the first people that ties back into where I said I'm from the colony of the where we come and see planets. I come. We are called the children of the sun. We literally came from the sun, and we came here. I'm to give you a little history because you understand.
Absolutely,
People
absolutely. We got to
probably
break it down. We got people that are in the back of the room. They didn't got up and took a water break. They didn't hear. You got to break it down for
appreciate it.
them.
A lot of people, this land they call Lemuria. I come from that land. My people came from that land. It's not called Lemuria. I understand they had to fill it in because it's a theory, but
Right.
it's a real land, and it was called Shakala. We came from Tamarael, and we came here, and when we got here, Earth was all water. There was no land. We raised the land. And okay, I'll get too deep in history, but the Eve gene, it had to start somewhere. That's what we did. So when it came down to we came because we obviously wasn't human. My ancestors had 6 fingers and 3 eyes. We was able to shapeshift and all kind of things. We were typically from anywhere to 8 to 10 feet tall. We weren't human. So when we came here, others came. We weren't alone. There was the mantis, the angels, the phoenix. We had all kind of spirits and souls come, right? So then we decide we're gonna do this human. I don't know. I don't want to call it a project, but if you think about it, everything that's created it starts out as a type of project. All of us with creation, everything that was created, like you said, came from imagination of thought. So I know a lot of people like, look, please y'all don't get offended, but it was a project. We all came from somewhere, a thought. So when this human project came together, the first human being was giant. They didn't have the colored flesh and all of this stuff. That didn't work out. They didn't. Yeah, that batch didn't work out. Okay, now y'all can process that however you want to. So basically, when we finally got the mix right, the first one was very very dark melanated, like my ancestors from Tamarael, and we were literally black, sometimes purplish, bluish. We were different colors, right? So when the others decided to chime in, we have that okay, that gene. Like I don't need y'all help to produce, right? Anything could we took their contributions, mixed it in, and produced. So that's where like the Eve gene, the original blueprint, and then other things were added in. Boom, boom, boom. So a lot of people say, and I'm gonna put this out there for my community too, and a lot of people want to know how did we end up with so many different kind of people, like so many different complexions, hair and all that. To me, it's just that hybridization. So we got the base angels, blonde hair, blue eyes, things like that. So come on now, we mixed all together. And I lost my train of thought again because
That's
I was
okay.
trying to figure out what to say and what not to say. I'm like, okay, that's too much.
Yeah.
That's too much.
No, that's okay because I got something. Because it actually I was thinking about this um when I had mentioned earlier that I was upset, right? When I started remembering things,
Yeah.
remembered who I was and reconnected with my higher self and all these kind of things. Remember I told you I was like, oh, I got upset and I'm ready to fight this, that, and the third, right?
Yeah.
And so what I got back though was don't disturb the ecosystem, right? And it was, and I understood what that energy was. It was, remember I mentioned next lifetime if that's what needs to happen and all that. But there are other beings. You talked about this when you talked about the dragons. There are other beings that walk around on this planet.
Yes.
We as humans are in this programmed system to believe that it is just humans here,
Right.
and then animals, right? And then that's
Right.
just it. They don't even tell you that the animals, some of them are absolutely as smart as us. In
Yeah.
fact, arguably smarter because
Smart
they're not in the
sometimes.
programming, right? So um, I wanted people to have an understanding of that, especially for where we're about to go with this. Now, before we, because you put a map on Facebook that I also want to talk about, but
You
before
been-
we no, no, no. We had to do it. We had to do. I got to tell the family what's going on. Listen, listen. We here to learn. All right. Um, but before I do that, I have this theory from the quote that we read from you. I had this theory about how the body is high level technology, and I know it's not a theory, but whatever.
Right.
I know people get in their feelings when you get too aggressive or too assertive when you know information.
Right.
Um, Now, using melanin for example,
Hmm.
my math shows that that makes your body worth over $34 million if I used my body size. Because right now, if you look up melanin, It's sold it over the market, sold over the market. I think $500 a gram. Okay, that's you could just go buy melanin, right? But it's actually one of the most expensive commodities that you can actually go get. And if I break that down pound for pound, and I use my body, that's over 34 million. So in essence, we are walking around in bodies that are worth millions and millions of dollars. We are all rich, right? And we don't see. So even my family out there that feel like you don't have a lot and you're struggling month to month or week to week or whatever, I think it's interesting because one thing we were never told to really conceptualize is that our body is very valuable. Just the fact that we have this vessel, because that's what it is, like a car. If you had a Lamborghini, you'd feel like you was doing something. Well, surprise, you do. Actually, you have something that's even doper than a Lamborghini, right? Um, but a lot of us don't realize that, and we don't even know how to use that body, that expensive vehicle, to the highest potential. So I'd like you to, if you don't mind, break down how do we activate that body? How do we use it to the highest potential? Some people talk about chakras and how they're important. What's going on with our technology of our body and then our chakra system?
It's definitely organic technology. I can see that because it's a definite structure behind it on the micro and the macro. And what I specialize in is the chakra system. And in order for me to understand it, I had to live it again.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I remembered and realized that a reason why a lot of our natural abilities have not awakened in or declined in the first place, besides getting distracted, we stop working on them. All of a sudden the chakras are not real. All of a sudden, they are real, but there's only seven you need to worry about. Oh no, it's way more than that. So we have a grid, and it's 244 chakras. Now, do you need to unlock all of them? No. It just depends on what you want to do, what you want to achieve. But my journey, I had to achieve it. Now, the best friend you're going to have is your higher self when it comes to that. Because books don't really talk about it. They don't even mention there's 244, and that's one of the things I came here to correct. Even though, even I don't know how and where this knowledge got lost, but the best way you can do is meditate with intentions. I know people say, "Oh, I'm not a good meditator. I can't sit still." You don't have to sit still. I never was able to sit still. I listened to the how you pronounce it, solfeggio
Yes,
frequency.
yes, the self
Yeah,
frequencies. Yep.
I did that. I anything that had a rhythm. I started listening to shaman drums as I walked around. Um, I found meditation in motion. It's kind of like self hypnotation. Hypnotation. Yeah, I can talk one day.
Well, listen, we got to deal with so many languages. We don't even talk where we come from. That's not like a thing. It's
That
vibration.
boy.
Like that's it's like,
If I was up here
or
speaking in
we tell
right, if
you
I was
know
up here speaking in dragon or frequencies, I'd be tearing it up. But it's like, okay, wait.
most people don't realize that the language that we've been given is so low vibrational. It's basic. It's actually very very basic. It's rooted like elementary, right? It's not even it's incomplete in my opinion actually.
That's a good
Um
word.
yeah. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you
But
off.
you no, you made a good point, and this is why it's taken me so long to get my to articulate and get these books out and everything because these words just do not capture the essence of
That
what's going on.
giving.
Right?
Right.
It's like people say, "Oh, we can't comprehend." Yes, we can. We can comprehend it. We just can't explain it because these words doesn't know justice. So I'm trying.
I know.
Yeah. Now, what was the talking about for that?
So we were just talking about the importance of chakras, right? In the
Yeah.
chakra system.
So,
And probably from my team, my family at the moment, we need to have an idea of maybe for now just the basics of understanding of what they are and why they're important, so they can start their journey of really diving into that for themselves.
okay. Well, I will say this much. with this evolutionary shift, frequency shift to five, the fifth density, you need to have 10 chakras unlocked and online. And those 10 earth star chakras is on the bottom of your feet, your root, your sacral, your solar plexus, your heart, your throat. Third eye, your crown, your soul star is about right here. And then your spirit star is going to be bigger. It's up here. And the reason why those 10 are important, that's when you become fully illuminated and you vibrate higher. And it makes getting information from the Akasha so much easier. So those questions about how can I do this, who am I, that's where they are. Even we're starting to understand that our thoughts aren't actually in our brain. They're not. They're up here. We're receiving all this information. So by focusing on the seven, okay, yeah, you can use those to help physical symptoms and everything because everything's connected. But in order to awaken to who you truly are, you got to get grounded to the earth and you got to the soul star chakra. That's where your mission is. That's where all of that information that you need to know. Why am I here anyway? Is there.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
how you access the Akashic records. But the spirit star, remember I was telling you about that threefold path. That will help you find out where you come from, who you really are as a soul. So to start, I would say go ahead and follow the regular program with starting at the root. Start with your seven. But extend that. Don't stop there because that's not enough. And a lot of people are not going to tell you that it's not enough. And that's why we've been limited for so long because seven chakras. I'm not knocking it. Don't get me wrong because you need those.
Right.
But it's not enough. And so you need to connect. Now, I could go over days because that is my expertise, but those are the basics. The Kundalini, a lot of people worry about it, right? And it's okay. It has many other names, but don't fear it. You're gonna feel the body waves. You're gonna feel that energy winding up. Some people freak out and they stop right there, but let it happen. Surrender to
Hmm.
yourself because it's nothing harmful from. I mean, it's you. It's
Right.
your knowledge. So from the bottom to the top. And I also say for everyone, don't just focus on the upper chakras. You need them all. You need them balanced. Because what happens is people get top heavy and then they think they know everything about everything and then they get, they get what they call, I know this and that, and I'm all light. I'm
Yep.
light. It's not healthy. You need to be
Right.
balanced.
You need to be balanced,
Yeah.
right? Moderation in all things. I'm right there with you. There are difference between soul and spirit. Right.
Um, I know we use it interchangeably, but I decided to stay consistent on some words and even making my own glossary because there's so many words for the same thing. Ram,
Right.
universe. It's hard. So to me, soul is your consciousness, your oversoul, your whole entire being. It might be fragmented out to 100 million pieces, but they all connect at one point. So to me, that's the soul. Now the spirit, that's just this fragment of me right here, right now, the one
Right.
driving on this mission. So that's how I differentiate between soul and spirit. Hmm.
And I like that. And so, um, well, I'll ask for your perspective on this because I know mine. Do you believe that every being walking around on planet Earth has a soul?
No.
That is also my perspective at
Yeah.
this point in the game. Is that there are beings walking around that do not have a soul, and so I think that for me, that is a very important aspect for people to realize and understand, take down, and really take note of is that, yeah, you might come into contact with somebody and they're spiritually animated. They have a spirit. That does not mean they have a soul,
Right.
right? And so you may wonder why people could do certain things to you and not feel bad for it or whatever. That's a real conversation that I want the family to know, is that not everybody that you're walking around next to or come into contact with even have a soul. You got to really understand the game that's being played here. And when we have certain conversations, this is why I say you as an individual have to do the work and have to do the journey. If you're talking to somebody, it may be even somebody that you've worked with for a long time, and if you're trying to talk about things that are going to come from your soul and they're not connecting, they make you feel stupid or crazy or insane. You're not crazy or insane. They just don't have access to that. That is not who they are. Right. And so I had to ask that question because I know how I feel about it. That's my perspective. But then again, I've learned that, you know, everybody has a unique perspective on this game that we're playing, and that's why we're here, right? That's why we're having the conversation.
Absolutely. Well, kind of work I do and all the hopping around I do in spirit, I can definitely say that there are, like you said, some that they're here as catalysts, but they're not really, a person having an experience. They are part of another experience. That's why I call them catalysts. Like they serve a purpose. And then you have those that are basically just running on a program. We call that program instincts, y'all. We know this already. That's
Right.
basically what most animals, I won't say all animals, because animals sometimes I'm some animals out there too. It's like
Hmm.
most animals are on a program. We call it instincts, but so there's people like that that
Right.
just never actually was chosen to, embody and look, however you want it. Like we say,
Yeah.
NPC, they just going.
NPCs. Yeah, no, that's a very real thing. They are
Yeah,
not, yeah,
I
they are
know
just
that
going.
a lot of people get offended, but it's nothing to be offended about. It's just it is.
It's what is. Yep, absolutely. All right, let's get to that map real quick
Okay.
that you put. Let me see if I got that
Uh-oh.
here because I'm all excited. Where that map go? Yes. Okay.
Good observation, though. Most people ain't look at it. What is this?
Do you see it on your screen? I
I
hope so.
do.
Beautiful. Okay, so family, if you're listening on like Spotify or something and you can't actually see it, I apologize. But we're looking at a map that she put on Facebook. You can go to her Facebook page, Domonique Powell, and you'll be able to see it there when you have time. That being said, Dominic, I'd love for you to please walk us through what's going on in this map. I saw a bunch of stuff. I saw the sun shines on us at an angle. I saw that there's different ice walls and edges. Others live on the ice and on the inside. What's going on? We got to know what's happening. There's a lot going
Well,
on.
I'm happy to know it did exactly what it was supposed to do. Catch attention. Because what I
Hmm.
really want to do is get with some science mind to help me put together a more accurate globe. Because the truth is, we as a collective don't know what's on our world. We don't know. We just been looking at that same map, and I even called it out and I said, okay, if we've been to the moon and we've been to Mars and we've been all this, why hasn't this map changed since 1960? It has not changed, not one bit. It's because we don't actually know as a collective. So what I call my dragon eyes, I can see beyond. I can basically see anything I want to see, and I decided to go look. And I was like, "Oh, that makes so much sense." So
Hmm.
this map, we're looking at it. I turned it sideways because the equator plays a very important part. That is our true north south and Western Hemisphere. I mean, I'm not really married to like changing the words of which direction is which because that's not important. I understand that people call north the magnetic north. Okay, cool. But the reason why the equator is so important, I saw an illustration that was talking about, was it the toroidal fields? I gotta get my words together, but that the realm itself from the outside looks kind of like a tangerine. It
Hmm.
has a hole, an energetic hole through the middle.
Hmm.
And I was going deeper. I'm going through this layer by layer in Earth realm universe, but I'm explaining this before I talk about that map. so to make more sense. All right, at the energetic top, there's illumination that we mistake as a second sun. It used to be over Egypt. It moves when the poles move. Okay, and on the energetic bottom, there's a abyss or a black hole, and we call that Death's Gate. Okay, inside the Earth, there's a red sun we call the core, but it's a sun, and there's void space, and all of these things they working together. That's what forms our world, which is like a sphere, right?
Hmm.
The axis. I know you look. You can get me on science now, but I'm telling you, when I looked further back, I saw that we are being shown on. Well, light shines on us at an angle. It is
Hmm.
the light from the sun that generates the heat, right? We know this much already, but what it, and we also know it's at an angle. But what we don't know is that we're not rotating in a complete circle. And it's, at what point would it actually hit the bottom? So that made me realize, wait, that's why so much ice, because Earth is defaultly cold, and the areas that get the sunlight have melted or they're warmer and they create a different atmosphere. So, and when I looked again, I was like, oh wait, guess what? We got two more continents that we don't know nothing about. There's east of Australia. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. And the area where the light doesn't shine, it's like ice ridges, which made me think about the flat Earth theory, which is not, but it makes more sense. I understand. Yeah, there is ice walls, but that's only because we're limited in motion. And the pivotal point of Earth is the dark side. So on this map, I was showing the equator points the way. If you follow the equator as far as you can, you will find the second sun. If you follow it south, you will find the abyss, the dark gate, death gate. If and then I know people like, oh no, that don't make sense. Yes, we did. I was like, okay, well, hear me out.
Hmm.
There is parts of the world that experience like complete darkness during certain seasons, complete light during certain seasons. There's have and have. We have these different places in the world that we know. Logically, it even makes sense that there are meanings that if this is have dark, have light, don't have, then that means somewhere further down is all dark.
Hmm.
Somewhere further up is all light. And so I turned it sideways to intrigue people. Like, hear me out.
Yeah.
What if we looking at the world sideways? And then it made more sense to me. Like, because we in space, north, south, sideways. We so used to looking at something this way. Like, okay, but what if it's not that way? It's this way.
Right. Right.
So, uh, is that answering your question? Because I had more.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. I just wanted to make sure because I don't want to overshadow the screen or overshadow your wisdom as you're breaking this map down.
Oh,
And one of the things that I thought was important to mention is as we're having these conversations about really breaking down this plane of Earth that we're living on, etc. Is we have to be open to new ideas and new schools of thought, new perspectives on how this realm actually works. As we're deconstructing the programming of what we were taught, now we have to examine really everything, but especially where we are, when we are, why we are, all these kind of things. What is truly going on? For example, many of us are coming to into the reality of twofold actually. Number one, that there are beings on the inner earth. Many of us didn't know that, right? That there are entire tunnel systems and entire worlds and realities inside of the earth.
yes,
You just broke down that there's a sun there, right? That's not what we were taught growing up, right? But
right,
people are coming into that reality. They're remembering certain things, etc. And we're all again pieces to the giant puzzle. As we have these conversations, things all start to slot in their proper place, especially when we have quality conversation behind it. So No, this is really good. The second thing I did want to say too was what I find fascinating is along with this conversation that you're having, the government now wants to finally acknowledge that the ETs, the extraterrestrials, whatever, come up from the waters, right? Come up from the oceans.
Yeah,
So instead of it just being, oh, we look in the sky and we see these
exactly.
UFOs, really, we're learning that, and many of us have always known, frankly, that the way intergalactic beings actually work is they go through the waters, right? They don't actually go through. They may eventually go up in the air and fly around, but the different portals, etc., are actually in the waters.
Yes.
And I think that is, again, this age of information is exciting things. Exciting things. I'm gonna stop sharing. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I agree with all of that, and that's part of what's going to be in my book too. Like you said, the trenches, the layers of worlds, um, the trenches serve a purpose. How the sinkholes occur, just everything that we think is so bizarre that actually makes sense when we understand how our world is. That we're sharing this world, and a lot of them don't show themselves to us outright because what's the first thing we choose is violence. And
Sad reality, but that is true.
they only seem to get involved if we're doing something that affects the whole thing, if we mess up their whole system. And I want to point out, just for fun, recently I said that there was going to be a galactic rearrangement on December 19th, and it was going to feel like a slow motion, and it happened. It was intense, and I want everybody to pay attention to the skies because I noticed that the moonlight changed. It used to be on the side, but now it's on the bottom. And my son, it doesn't sit where it used to. So pay attention because these things are happening. Everybody keeps saying, y'all been saying this for years. When? Where? When is it? It's happening right
Right now.
now. Right now, we're living it.
And
And
they're
it's
not going to
more,
tell you on your mainstream news. But go ahead. I ain't even cut you off. I just
no, no,
passionate.
it's happening right now. You just have to pay attention and realize that this is evolution. These sounds, the ocean swells, all of it's playing a part. And I know that there's going to be new trenches. That it's going to be it's going to be a lot. I ain't going to spoil it,
Oh,
but it's happening right now. So just pay attention. That's all. I'm gonna leave it like that.
okay. Well, listen, that's a great transition to the final quote that I had. I had to include. It was so good. Now it's a little deeper. It's a little longer, family. I'm sorry, but hey, sometimes we got to do that quality. All right, we need that quality conversation. So here's a quote that you said, kind of talks to what we've been discussing, but also leads me somewhere. Quote. So dot dot dot. To push my theories forward, I don't need to prove that it's true. Question mark. I only need to prove that it is more logical than what's currently in place as the accepted system. Replace the popular opinion as the people decide what's true out of the options that are now available. Wow, this journey is going to expose a lot of intentional deception. I
Yes.
highlighted that because it's important. So, number one, and then you go on to say, one, prepare to learn that we are in the Venusian star system, which consists of two stars and five planetary worlds.
Right.
I know a lot of people just was like, what? What? Number two, prepare to learn more about our sun, in parentheses, solar star, the galactic anchor. Number three, prepare to learn about the other objects in our atmosphere besides the moon and the documented projectiles. Number four, prepare to see a model of Earth that shows what's in the unmapped areas, including the dark side. We just talked about that,
Yes.
right? And then number five, there are some existing theories out there that don't get enough recognition that actually supports what I've learned, such as Earth beginning as a complete water planet. We talked about that. It had no land on the surface. This is why most of the stargates are underwater. Now this brings us full circle. We were just talking about how the intergalactic beings they are um, very wise and intelligent. They have a lot of cosmic knowledge. So some of you may never heard of stargates, or if you have, you've heard them on movies or TV shows.
Right.
I'm here to tell you a lot of the things that you see on the movies and TV shows are real.
They are real.
They hide these things under the guise of entertainment or comedy, but there's nothing funny about it. It's actually very real, and it's sad that they hide these things from us under that guise and try to act like it's all a fun joke and a big game when really we have much more technology than what they put out here in the public.
Absolutely.
Um, so I wanted to read those quotes. Oh, sorry, I didn't finish. So we ended with, this is the reason why most stargates are underwater. Not because they sank, but because the original Earthlings lived within inner Earth in the ocean,
Yes.
right? And then you go on to say, we stop learning once we stop asking questions and imagining the impossible, right? This is evolution. And I thought that was beautiful. That was a great way to end the conversation about the map that we just discussed, some of the different aspects that we just discussed, because we have to be willing to have these kind of difficult conversations that do take imagination, creativity, a challenging of what we know to be reality, especially because, again, once you realize that you are everything and everything is you, you are that creator. Now you have to really think through, okay, now how does that apply over every concept of this reality, right? It's imagining the impossible is how creation is done,
Mhm.
right? That's the secret ingredient. There's no way around it, right? This is the evolution. So I just thought that was beautiful. Did you have anything to that, that you wanted to say for those that heard this quote and maybe they have never come across you?
um, Not really. I can't. Nothing comes
Okay.
to mind.
Yeah, that's okay. So I want to transition. What is one thing or some things that you wish you knew earlier in life? Like, I'll give you an example. For me, I wish I knew that the United States was a business, it is a corporation. I wish I knew that, because that would help answer some of the questions that we naturally have. Like, why does it seem like when we vote on things, they don't care what we have to say? Why does it feel like things that are common sense that we should have had a long time? For example, term limits, right, for Congress.
Yes.
That's not a novel idea,
Mm.
right? People have been talking. I know they've been talking about it for decades. They had to have, and I know that all of my generation's been talking about it. Yet I voted in what, four different elections. Still nothing, right? They don't seem to care. So, just out of curiosity for you, what is one or maybe a couple things, whatever you feel like sharing, that you just simply wish you knew earlier in life?
I think being a Black American woman, one thing I would love to have known is that most of us did not come through the slave trade, and that I'm not a descendant of slaves. I'm in, that wound in Black culture, it goes so deep, and it's not even true. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but whew,
I just had the biggest sense of deja vu. Like, we had this conversation before. I don't know if you just saw the look on my face. Like, it just
you're
literally
like,
slapped me upside the face. Because number one, I already knew that, and I completely agree with you. That's a deep wound, and I think that affects so-called white people and so-called black people. But
yes,
we'll get there
all
at a
right,
different
that's
time.
another topic, but
Um,
definitely wish I knew that.
that was crazy. I feel like I've been in this moment before, and that's one of the things about being a multidimensional being. And for those of you that are confused by that, whole different conversation. We'll get there. Because we live in a multiverse, it's a whole thing. It's a
Yeah,
whole
it's
thing.
a lot.
But to your point though, because I apologize for cutting you off. It just kind of hit me upside the head. I was like, I literally got taken to a place where we had this conversation before. Um, that wound, that wound is very deep. How did that impact you? Why do you wish you knew that sooner?
The way I was raised, all I saw was a lot of self-loathing, a lot of anger, and most of the time it wasn't even from outside races; it was from ourselves. And I didn't know how to value myself. or the skin I was in. I wanted to be lighter. I wanted to be someone else other than me. I didn't like nothing. I was like, why did I have to be one like this? It ricocheted down to me. And
Hmm.
if I had a known that, black is beautiful just like anything else, and that we were not inferior in any kind of way, then I could have made changes in the way I saw myself and how I impacted my community. How to uplift each other, because if you hear things so many times, you start to believe it.
Right.
So I missed a lot of opportunities, and I doubt myself for a long time and others. I was that toxic girlfriend before. You ain't no good, da, 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 and I wouldn't have projected that. I adopted that hurt. So if I had a known that we were powerful, we were travelers, it would have been so different. Even if nobody else believed it, I would have believed it. And when you believe in yourself, you can move mountains. So it's like, I wish I had known that, who I was.
I couldn't agree more. And it, um, you know, so powerful. If you believe in yourself, you can move mountains. And when you know, the thing is like, to me, when I hear that, like when you know who you are, when you know where you come from, when you know all that you are, now your intent in life and your purpose in life becomes that much more powerful. It becomes that much more impactful. Your ability to even just your perspective that you just talked about, I thought was interesting. The idea that you can be toxic unnecessarily because your perspective is that simply that you are less than, and then you project that in your environment. That's
Right.
how powerful you actually are.
Hmm.
Because you feel less than, you will project your sadness or sorrows or insecurities on other people when actually you were the problem.
Yeah.
Ain't that something? Now, on the flip side, you could have a whole different type of experience in that same whatever it was, relationship, anything, if you internalized your own feelings in a much more beautiful setting. When you if you know that you are amazing, you are special, things are actually great and you're in control. Now all of a sudden how you react to adversity changes. It's not the same, right? And so I completely agree, and I thank you for sharing, because I know that's some of those. Sometimes these are sensitive topics, right? That we had to go through, right? But it's important that we share it so others can see the way. Um, we're starting to wrap up a little bit. The next question: what advice or knowledge would you like the audience to know? And I want to look at this from two angles. We have some of us that are listening, some of my family, that this is brand new information. They're just starting to explore who they are. And then I know that I got some of my family that recently started to accept who they are, but they're trying to grow towards their purpose. So let's just start with number one. What would you like the family to know that's just starting to explore?
I would say, don't look too hard. You don't have to read 50 million books. You don't have to watch every podcast. And I know I love you, but I'm just saying, you don't have to do all that. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the more you feed yourself, because I'm telling you one thing, you're going to start searching what you already believe first. You're going to try to
True.
reinforce what you already think you know. And I don't care what you search for, you're going to find somebody that agree with you. So you're not
Hmm.
actually doing yourself a service by doing this. So what you need to do is just start over. Think, okay, I don't know nothing. And look inside a little bit first. What do you really believe? What do you really feel? That's where you start. And then attract information. Just like I know he about to attract all the kind of people to his stuff. Yeah, you are. You
It's my
attract knowledge.
purpose.
I never had to seek it out. It came to me. It might be, I'm scrolling and stop. Pause. This is for you. You can attract it if it's relevant and it resonate. It'll come to you if it's important. So I know there's a lot of people have to unlearn what they research.
Right.
Because you're not really learning. What you're doing is taking somebody else's opinion and deciding who you're agreeing with. So that's not too. Make it easier for yourself. You say you want to know, clear it out. Attract the information you need. Talk to your guys. What's your next one?
Yeah, my next one. That's perfect. Thank you so much for that. The next one, those who've accepted, they've accepted who they are, right? They're like what I like to call maybe halfway into the journey. So you've accepted who you are, but now you've got to actually start to grow towards your purpose and embrace it, right? It's one thing to accept it, but that don't mean you
Yeah.
embraced it though. You just like, oh, okay, now I'm starting, okay, I'm seeing it, it makes sense. But now I still got to do the actual work, right? What what would you have for those people that are trying to now get their engine started, right? They're getting revved up.
Okay. Acceptance of self and acceptance of journey, like he said, is two different things. And we were really stubborn. And I'm gonna tell you right now, once you acknowledge that, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, after a while you're gonna be put in a situation you ain't got no choice. And I'm gonna tell you this, what I've learned and what I've witnessed in other people's journey. You can do it yourself in baby steps, because trust that there's gonna be a lot of detachment from people, from habits, from a lot of things that, because this has changed. So in order to, you gotta allow it emerge. And so it's gonna hurt. There's no way around it, because you're used to it. You're comfortable. So it's a big detachment thing. So I'm telling you, I suggest you do it. Because if you don't do it willingly, things are just gonna start falling away in the ugliest of ways. And you don't have to suffer like that. You don't have to, just accept this no longer serves me. It's falling away. Let it fall. I think the toughest thing people do is trying to take people with them. Oh, I thought,
Right,
come with me. It's not gonna be the same without you. We can't, because they're here for their own purpose. We,
right.
we gotta let them live theirs. So anything that's meant to be in your journey will be there. They'll come
That's
back. So let go. People say that, but they don't really know what it means.
yeah, hard to do.
Yes. Don't try to control it so hard. So yeah, because you don't want it to get to the point where you ain't got no choice. Like, now you gotta go for it. Like,
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I thought the a very good analogy for what you just said was the idea of there's only so much, like if you have a laptop or a phone, everybody got a phone. Let's stick with the phone. There's only so much data capacity on that phone. The phone can do powerful things though, and sometimes you got to clear out all this data and stuff from years ago so you can be ready for more.
yep,
And that's effectively what you're saying, right? We
yep.
can't take everything and everyone with us. It's just impossible to do. There's only so much data. Just no way around it.
You're getting an upgrade and it's incompatible. Yeah.
Yes, upgraded incompatible. Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. And so it's okay, just for my family, because I know people be wanting to know. When I was on my journey, what was shown to me was a door, and that door was literally my height, my size, my dimension, and I understood the metaphor that only I could walk down this journey. There
Mhm.
was no bringing anybody with me.
Right.
Those that are ready for the information or wanting to go in their divine directions, well, let's just say that they can go, but I can't control that. I can only control what I do, right? And I'll be honest, that even took me some time to just be okay with, because it's not easy to detach. So just know, family, we feel you, but we've been there, we've done it. You're gonna be okay. Um, so thank you so much for that. So next question, and this came from you talking about higher selves, right? This came from my higher self or true self. Family may have heard me say true self.
Right.
Um, it is my current understanding that the divine feminine the women will be taking over much of the leadership around the planet moving forward. And so, with that said, that might throw some of y'all off. Just accept it. So, with that said, what should the collective be paying attention to in 2025? And if you want to go a little beyond that, you can. But specifically, I was asked to have you talk about what things to look out for or expect for the year 2025.
That's funny that he brought that up, but it's true though. Um, I don't really talk about it too much. Me being who I am, you know, I have a big role in that, and I've been talking about it for a while. The divine feminine has returned, and she came back. The essence of her has come returned. I think it was in 2023, and you will notice that a lot of women are feeling extra empowered. They're not bothered. They're just doing them. They want to succeed, so they're doing it. They're getting together, getting building homesteads, building businesses for women, by women, loving on women. And even though we love men, we need you. It's like, okay, maybe they'll catch on. Like, so we're kind of like, we can't worry about what they're doing. We're doing us because we're tired of how things are. We're tired of not feeling like we can't win. We're this way, we're hating on. We that way, we're hating on. We just, and it's like we couldn't win. So we're winning now, and so it's been a lot of gender wars. This a woman should. We're tired of that too, y'all. We just tired of that. So we're coming out of an age where we're told how we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to think, how we're supposed to just being us. We're being us. We're returning back to our authentic nature. And the truth is, it's diverse. There's some of us that are soft, who want to tend to everybody like nurses, and this. There's some of us who wants to be the CEO or lead a whole tribe. There's some who are basically bloodthirsty. I ain't gonna lie, they just want to. There are some who are just authentically flirtatious and promiscuous. I mean, they are just like that. And so this whole thing of judgment, we're saying, hey, this is us. You know, we are pushing ourselves up together. I'm buzzing. I must be on to something. Like I'm lighting up. But she has returned. And the reason, one of the big reasons why, it's because I don't know if y'all know this or not. Yes, we talk about goddesses and all that, and they get their respect. But we've been doing things for a long time. We've always been strong. We've always been powerful. And it's just that those things were deleted. Those things were renamed. Those things were said to be something else. And so, I mean, even I said it earlier in the show, Holy Spirit. Why is it Holy Spirit? Why is there the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit? That was the mother. Why did she get deleted? It's like all this time, even Lilith vilified. I mean, I know that's just one religion, but that's just the one I know the most. And it's been happening so long, and so she said, you know what? We're gonna straighten the records out. We're gonna be our authentic self because we work better together. And it was matriarchy before patriarchy, and it's just I'm not gonna say one was better than the other, but you know what? I'm gonna talk about. We gotta do another show because I do want to talk about that one day. But
I have a strong feeling, honestly, coming into it, I had a strong feeling we
right,
were likely going to do
because
another
that
show.
right there it means everything. But yes, your higher self. I feel yeah, I have come and I ain't playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to put things back in order, and I know it's going to be not just women, but in the end, yes, we're going to spearhead this movement. We have to, and it's like we just we have to.
I feel you, and I want to say I it's my theory. And it really is a theory. The entire point, and when you say why was the divine feminine deleted from history and all these kind of things, the entire point was to take the planet out of its organic state to be able to take it over. See, when you can break down the family, separate the men from the women, separate how we act from a divine cosmic state and to be our best selves, then that's war, right? That's a real battle now. But see, it's a spiritual battle. It is disconnecting you from all that you are in
Definitely.
order for you to be able to be programmed and controlled. And so that is, I guess, where I would end it for the family is, keep in mind, do not ever forget that we are everything and everything is us. We are not just on this planet and there's nothing else out there. This is a galactic cosmic conversation. And there's so much more to this beautiful life than what we've ever been shown. And so don't stay stuck into this box of programming that we've um, been put into, forced into. We are amazing, special, high value, right? Elite beings, and there's so many aspects to ourselves that need to be embraced in order for everything to work. So that's where I kind of want to leave that. I feel very good with helping the family understand the direction that the planet is taking. That is a planet conversation. I just told you, so you'll be seeing female leadership everywhere.
Yeah,
Those of you who can't get on board, probably not going to work out well for you. But hey, I'm just a messenger, right? I'm here to live my best life in this lifetime. I already told you what time it was. You take that for what you will. Um, how can are you working on anything actively? Any books that you want to tell us about?
I am. I'm almost done with. It's called From Darkness to Divinity: My Path to Full Enlightenment, because I
Oh,
do
that's gonna
get
be a banger. Yeah, yeah.
I do get these questions a lot, like, "How you know? And how you know?" Like, it's like, "But how do you know?" And it's not something I could, like, just put in a blog post or something. I was like, "Okay, I really need to talk about this whole path," because even in this show, you've seen how I've been through it, so I can relate, to the dark night of the soul or whatever you got, and how I found out, and the clues and the path, and how did I know I was finished? Because a lot of people say there ain't no end. It's just an ever changing. I won't argue with that part. But knowing yourself, once you know yourself, that's it. So you can be fully enlightened. So that's that. It should be out by the end of this month. I just got to get it proofread. I'm excited for it.
Hmm.
As you mentioned, I am hosting a chakra awakening masterclass because I want to see everybody unlock and balance the prime 10 chakras that we spoke about before. I can help you. I can help you. And I got many books and words, like he said, around universe, discussing the inside and outside of the realm, the one about, the Venusian star system. Also about the 5 months, how we communicate with different levels of consciousness, even though we might not be aware of it. So don't have me rambling because I will be talking about, I have at least 15 books on my list.
I understand. I've been told that I got to write some books to leave behind for the collective. So yeah,
Yes,
I'm with you.
yes.
Yeah.
But basically, it's just hidden knowledge that I'm authorized to give, so that when keep saying this is evolution, that's what I mean. We
Mhm.
evolve by getting new information, so new imaginations, and so I'm putting the information out there so we can push forward.
You know, it just popped in my mind, and I've been integrating with my higher self, and I appreciate certain thoughts that come in because I understand that some are from higher places. So, with great power comes great responsibility. I actually noticed that earlier today, or maybe yesterday, you posted that on social media, but also it just popped in my mind specifically because you talked about how when you write these books, you're able to give certain high level information or hidden information. And people might naturally wonder, why is it hidden? Why is it high level? Why does it have to be private? And I'm going to tell you that there's an aspect to that again, with great power comes great responsibility. If you're going to be given divine information, the question becomes, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do with it? Um, as we've discussed, there are many beings that are in our universe, in our multiverse, on our planet that you are not aware of.
Yeah,
And so, what we do absolutely impacts the realities in which those other beings live in and deal with. And so if you can really wrap your mind around family, that's a big reason why certain information is not just publicly available or just given to everyone, because you can get so much power and then you're not ready for it. You're not ready
mm,
to be responsible.
so
That's why some of us have different roles than other people too. You have to actually do what you came to do. So just wanted to pass that along for those that might be wondering what is that about. I just wanted to give you a different perspective. How can my family find you? How can they get a hold of you or find you? What's going on with that?
Oh, okay. I try to be everywhere, but my main website is spirinkets.com. It's spelled SPIRIKETZ. Did I misspell my own website? Because it's so that's terrible.
They can bet be all right. They can go to Google. They can type your name in and then
I know.
Sprinkles. They'll be all right.
Mrs. Domonique Powell, Spirinkets. You look, I'm everywhere. I make sure that I am on SEO, okay?
Listen, if they made it this far, they're probably critical thinkers. They're gonna be able to find you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Plus, they could just reach out to me because not like I won't be happy to share. So,
I appreciate
yeah, absolutely. And so, lastly, I like to end the episode with some form of question about who are you. So I know for me, I am a divine soul having this human experience, and when I break it all down, I take this vessel off. I simply am. I am. Who are
Absolutely.
you?
I am that I am, and that is all that I am.
I know that's right. That is beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining, family. I hope you enjoyed it. This was everything for me. I don't care if you enjoyed it or not. I loved it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I had a great time. We're gonna have to do it again. I had a feeling it was gonna be like that, but we'll see how the family feels about it. What questions they have for us, and we'll build another show. It's gonna be great. Thank you so much for your time, and I am very honored and appreciative for your time.
Likewise.
All right. Bye, family. We're going to see y'all later. We love you. Peace.
Step into the light where the dreams unfold. Yeah. Voices from the past, yeah. Whisper in the bowl. Listen up. Echoes of the soul, searching for the truth. Come on. Feel the beats alive. We're living proof. Let's go. Here's to the journey, we stronger. Together, stronger. In this game of life, rise. Soar forever, ever.